Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I have a highly requested video, and I've been purposely waiting around to film this one because I don't do this frequently, of course. But in this video, I'm going to show you how I trim my naturally curly hair. Quick disclaimer, this is how I trim my hair. I understand that there's other people out there who use different methods or whatever. Also, I've been doing my own trims for the past 3 years now. So I only trim my hair when necessary, especially for length retention. And this is something I talked a lot about in my 10 things I did to grow long hair video. And if you haven't seen that, I will make sure to list it down below so you can check that out. But yeah, basically I only trim my hair when needed, which is usually once or twice a year. And yes, I know that sounds crazy, but that's what works for me. And I can usually tell when it's time for a trim when my hair has split ends or when I get a bunch of those single strand fairy knots, which is so annoying. Also when I notice that the ends of my curly strands are thinning out. And then the last and biggest indicator is when it gets harder to detangle my hair and it takes longer. So that's usually like the last, little indicator like, hey, okay, Dominique, you need to trim your ends. So I remember growing up, the standard used to be to trim your hair every 6 to 8 weeks, which is what, most beauty salons tell you. I hope that they're not still doing that because it's just not how I believe it should be done. I feel like everybody has their own hair pattern and when they need to trim it, and it's not the same for everyone. Like a regular trim based on time wise, I mean, it could be different from person to person. So I don't think you should be cutting off your hair, especially if you don't need to. So don't try to stick to a schedule. Like for me, even though I say I trim my hair once or twice a year, it's never in a consistent, it's never in the same months. So I just go based on what my hair is looking like, and I'm always taking note of what's going on with my hair every time I wash it. Like I'm constantly assessing my hair for signs of when I need to get ready to trim. So just don't try to stick to a schedule. 6 to 8 weeks, cut that out. That's not gonna work unless you just want to cut off unnecessary hair. So if your hair doesn't need a trim, don't trim it so you can go longer. So yeah, that's just my advice, and I'm just telling you guys to just trim when you need it only. So I think there's a difference between cutting curly hair and cutting straight hair. So with curly hair, it's usually going to be uneven just because our hair is concealed by shrinkage, okay? So we can't really tell how straight or even it is because it's in its curly state all the time. So it's going to be uneven, which is completely normal. And with straight hair, that's more obvious and more visible, so of course that needs to be even all across. And if you guys didn't see my video back in January this year, I did straighten my hair and I trimmed it because of course, like I said, curly hair is uneven, which is normal. So when I straightened it, you could tell that it was uneven, so I had to trim it across to make it look even since I was wearing my hair straight. So basically my rule of thumb is if your hair is curly, you should cut it curl by curl, and if it's straight, you should cut it straight across. So I know that was a long intro, but I feel like it was much needed, but I'm not going to ramble on anymore. So if you're interested in seeing how I trim my naturally curly hair, then keep on watching. So there's 2 different ways I like to do this, and either way I choose, I always begin with freshly washed hair and always end in a wash and go. And I wash my hair twice. So I know that's a lot, but again, this is what I do. So like I said, there's 2 different ways. I either start out on wet hair or I start out on dry hair. So obviously my hair is wet because I just got out the shower from washing my hair. So that's what we're going to be doing today, starting on wet hair. And it honestly just really depends on my mood and what I have going on that day and how much time I have, whether I want to start out on wet hair or dry hair. But like I said, either way, I always start out on freshly washed hair and end it in a wash and go, and I always wash it twice. I hope that makes sense. I'm trying my best to explain it, but if you have questions, just let me know. And the reason I always like to end it in a wash and go is because I just feel like you can see the results better that way, because obviously I'm going to be applying my curly hair products, and with the shrinkage you may or may not be able to tell where else you might need to cut to clean it up. So that's why I like to always do the second part in the complete dried wash and go. And some days I'll do it both on the same day, or I'll just do like one part the first day and then the next part the second day. But today, just for the purposes of this video, I'm gonna do both on the same day. So typically when I do this, I do it at my bathroom sink, and I try not to diffuse, so I air dry most of the time, just because I feel like, you know, I just want to avoid any unnecessary extra heat, because I'm obviously trying to start off fresh with a fresh cut, you know. Alright guys, so I've already split my hair into 4 sections here, and this is just going to make it so much easier to manage, especially because I have a lot of long hair. So this is just going to make the time go by a lot faster, even though it is kind of still time consuming, but you get the point. So I'm going to start off with this front section here. So like I said, my hair is wet, but it's more so damp now. And I have my little water spray bottle here just in case my hair dries up on me. And then for conditioner to smooth it out, I'm just going to be using this Silk Elements Mega Silk Olive Conditioner with avocado and silk. Yeah. So yeah, just going to take a little palmful amount here. When I'm trimming my hair, I like to make sure that my hair is as smooth as possible, so that way when I feel my strands, I can see exactly where I need to cut, because I'm going to feel it. And I can already tell you guys, like, look at that. Some of my ends are a little frizzy, and I can already see, like, fairy knots. There's so many fairy knots, oh my gosh. And then, you know, little pieces of thinning hair on the ends that I need to cut off. So yeah, we're about to take care of that. So now what I'm going to do is just split my hair into some smaller pieces here. Get this out of the way. And I'm going to comb this down. And I actually have this little knockoff, what do you call this brush? Dimming brush. This is not a dimming brush. This is the knockoff version from Target. But yeah, it still works. But I'm just using this to further smooth out my hair and to clump the curls so I can see where they need to be cut, because I'm still doing this curl by curl. So here's a section here, or a curl. So I've got the product in, and what I'm doing is just smoothing down the curl. So like maybe from like the mid shaft on down. So like I'm smoothing it down, feeling for like bumpy areas, and those bumps are usually where the fairy knots are. And you can also see how it's kind of frizzy. Yeah, that needs to be cut drastically. Sometimes I take a little bit more conditioner to smooth it out even more so I can see on the ends of it. There we go. It made it a little better. And these shears are by Conair, and I picked these up from Ulta some years ago, so that's where I got these from. So with this piece, I'm probably going to cut this. See how this curl is going crazy? I'm going to cut that right there. And I'm cutting at a downward motion. So there. See, that's how much I cut off, which is one little curl loop, which was the thinnest part on the end of this curl. So looks a whole lot better now. So moving on to the next curl. Smoothing that down with my fingers, feeling for any bumps, assessing the hair, looking at how thin it is on the ends. See that? I need to cut that part off. By the way, this trim was long overdue. Like I said, you want to make sure you have time to do this, because you don't want to rush through this. So cut that off right there. Looks so much better. Again, that was like maybe one curl loop there, which was the thin part. And you can see fairy knots. Well, you probably can't see it on this camera, but yeah, there's a lot of little fairy knots here. Moving on, I think we got 2 more down here. So So yeah, I'm gonna put some more conditioner on this part, just like a little dot. And again, you guys, I'm doing this curl by curl, which is why I'm splitting each section into even smaller sections, because my hair has different overgrown layers. So yeah, see how that part's going all crazy there? I'm gonna cut that at a downward motion. There we go. Looks better. And the last little piece for this section. You can even use your fingers to force the curl if you need to, instead of waiting for it to, you know, shrink up or whatever. Alright, so it's like really thin on the end here, so just gonna snip off that part of it. Alright, so we got this little part done. Already that feels so much better. Like when I'm doing this, it's a lot smoother now. And put this out the way and get another piece. And I'm probably gonna do like, okay, so that was one. So maybe like 3 or 4 rows per section, just depending on the thickness. And it doesn't have to necessarily be that even, because again, we're doing this curl by curl. Tangling that out, using my brush to clump the curls, see where they join, and smoothing it back out. So yeah, we got a few little curls there. I'm smoothing it down, feeling for where there's little bumps along the strands. And also looking at the thinness of it. See that? We got some frizz going on there. I'm just gonna snip. Can y'all see? I'm gonna snip that about right there. Already that looks better. And you can do these as big or as small as you want to. Like I said, I like to try to go curl by curl, because I just think that that's the best effective way for cutting on curly hair. So look at this. See how that's so thin at the end of this last thick piece here? I'm going to cut that off. Like if you want the most effective cut, then try to do it curl by curl. That's why I say you need to set aside some time if you're doing this, to make sure that you take your time, you know, because you don't want to rush through this. And every time I trim my hair, I usually cut off about 1 inch. So far, this is what we got. These are all like fairy knots and just thinning, frizzy hair. So yeah, I'm gonna try to speed this up now. Sometimes the ends of my curls like to tuck themselves within the curl, if that makes sense. So you kind of have to stretch it out if that happens to you. And usually why that happens for me is because it's so thin on the ends. So yeah, I need to cut that off. just finished up with this first section, and already my curls are looking so much healthier. No frizzy ends. So now I'm just gonna put this section back up and start on the next section. And then, like, depending on what I have going on or what I'm doing, I'll sometimes take a break after half of my head, or most of the time I'm just trying to hurry up and get it done. Okay, so I just finished up this second section, and now I'm about to start on the third section here in the back. So I'm going to show you this. So I'm going to start out with parting a small little row here in the back and pinning up the rest of my hair. Okay, smooth that out. Use my brush to help it smooth it out even more. And I'm going to cut curl by curl. So smoothing it out with my fingers as well as with the brush helps it to clump naturally where it's going to go. So there. Then we got this little piece, so I guess I'll do this one first. This piece is smaller. This is like at the nape of my neck back here. So, like, if your hair is shorter, I don't really know what to tell you other than maybe trying to get a mirror and looking at the back, but to me in my head that seems difficult to do. Like, it is difficult to do holding a mirror up in the back of your head trying to look in another mirror, but if you have long hair, just pull your hair around so you can see exactly where you're cutting. So I have this curl here. See how it's like thick and then it gets like really thin towards the end here? So yeah, we're gonna cut that thin part off. So I'm just trying to make sure I don't cut off too much. So right about here is where I'm gonna cut it. So yeah, there we go. So here we go. We've got this piece. Again, same issue. It's thicker up here and then gets really thin down here. So I'm gonna snip that right about there. Since this piece looks frizzy, I'm gonna just spray a little bitty squirt of water to help smooth it out so I can see better, see the curl better. See how it's like really thin? I'm going to snip that off right about there. This one is a good example again of it really getting thin down here. See those little straggly ends right there? Just need to snip that off. There we go. So much better. Okay, so this last little piece looks like a full curl. I never try to split up a curl, okay? I never try to force that. So if a curl wants to stay married, keep it married. Don't let it divorce. See how that's like the perfect little ringlet? And then down here, a little frizzy situation. So we'll snip that right there. So much better. Okay. Horrible ends. Gotta take care of that. And honestly, for this year, I know for a fact that I probably should have trimmed my hair earlier, like around the summertime, or not summertime, but like maybe beginning of fall. So this has been long overdue. Alright, so that took me almost 2 hours. Yeah, I told y'all it takes time, especially depending on how thin or thick your curls are. But yeah, so just want to show you up close how much better my ends are looking already. No frizzy ends, no straggly ends, no thin ends. So that's the goal. And plus, as I was going through it, it is now a lot smoother. This is all the frizzy fairy knots and thin hair that I was trying to get rid of, so it's not even that much. So that's really good considering the fact that I have not trimmed my hair since January. So yeah, I was able to get most of the fairy knots out. Now of course you're not going to catch every last one of those, that would be impossible, but for the most part I got the bulk of it, so my hair feels so much better, and this is going to make detangling a lot easier now. Alright guys, so now I'm going to go wash this out, do my deep condition, and then I'll get back on camera after I diffuse. Alright guys, so I just got done rinsing out the conditioner and then doing my deep condition, and then I styled my wash and go with my curly hair products as normal. And so now that my hair is dry in a wash and go, the last step that I like to do, which is part 2, is to go back through my hair and just kind of reassess the ends. Not all of them, but just like to get a general, you know, survey of how my hair looks in the final state. So I'm just going to take my scissors here and just kind of pick out some ends, look at them. But for the most part, they usually are pretty good. This part of the process doesn't take but 5 minutes, so because I caught most of it when I did the first initial cut. So I'm just looking around, trying to see what ends I need to clean up. So far I don't see anything. All of these ends look pretty good. And I purposely did not fluff my hair out or do my little hair pick thing for volume because it'll just make it longer. It'll take longer. So, yeah. This side pretty much looks really good. And I got some little long strands. You probably can't even see that on camera, but I'm just going to cut that part off. But yeah, you can see my ends are pretty much clean cut here. So yeah, this side is pretty good. So now I'm going to check the other side. Yeah, this looks pretty good. There's like one little dangling string here. Alright. These look pretty good. Got some dangling strings. That looks good. Okay, I was only able to find one, which is really a good thing. So you see how this end is kind of funky on the end? And it's a little bit thin, so I'm just going to snip that right there. So that looks better. So yeah, just from part 2, this is all I ended up cutting off. So yeah, that part doesn't take long, especially if I'm taking my time with the first initial cut. That's why I say you don't want to rush through it. So the more time you dedicate to the first part of cutting your hair, then you won't have to reassess much once you style your hair and your dry wash and go. So yeah, that's pretty much all I do. Alright guys, so that's pretty much how I trim my naturally curly hair. Again, I know that there's other methods out there that people use, so just choose a method that works best for you. Let me know in the comments if this video was helpful, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And before you leave, make sure you are subscribed and that your notifications are turned on, so that way you'll never miss a video from me. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!